speaking of all that kind of stuff and like being human and all this weirdness, I was listening to this podcast where this lady was talking about the title of the podcast was how money is becoming social media. And basically she wrote this book. I can't remember. I'll pull up the podcast so I can say what her name is. I don't remember what the book title is, but she basically was talking about how it's so interesting about how like money has changed and everything over the years. And during like a pandemic and things like that, people start to worry about like the state of our money and like, for example, a lot of
any type of economic crisis.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Any kind of anything where there's a downturn in the economy, a lot of people get a lot of fear around their money.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it's this lady's name is Lena Swartz. She is the assistant professor of media studies at the University of Virginia, and her book is called New Money: How Payment Became Social Media. And she didn't talk a ton about cryptocurrency because she was like, I would have had to write a whole nother book. But basically, it's kind of like this idea that there are so many other different forms of currency and things now. Like, for example, like credit card points and things like that. It's like this whole other economy of things. And some people get taken advantage of by credit cards and some people use it to their advantage. And like we have Venmo and Cash App and like all these different ways that we're sending money and sending and receiving money.
Any system around money is made for the person doing the lending. Or the bank or the company or like any type of like loan or credit card or finance or like anything around money is for the profit of the lender and usually has some aspects of predatoriness through interests and fees and blah blah blah. But you're right. If you know how to play the game. Like I knew of a guy, not knew him personally. He had like 60 credit cards that all had like travel and flight like points on them. And basically he lived on a jet and in like really nice hotels. Just that's all he did was just fly to a city, stay in a hotel, fly to a city, stay in a hotel, fly. But he didn't have an apartment. He just like lived on planes and like had his computer. He's like, I live basically like a luxurious life for free. Like I just fly everywhere and I just stay in these nice hotels and I'm on my computer and on my phone and he's got this like big stack of credit cards and it's like, geez, like I mean that's a full-time job staying on top of it, like with your spreadsheets. And
it is, but if that's what you value,
and transferring, it's like that credit guy that your brother likes a lot. Like his whole thing is like, yo, I'm worth like $8 million in credit, and it's like, but what does that mean though? Is that...
Yeah. Well, the idea of credit is extremely powerful, right? Because it's the idea of credit is money that you will make.
Supposedly.
And that's the whole thing about...
Or you hope.
Well, that's the entire concept of money. So Dee Hock, he's the guy that created Visa MasterCard. Mm-hmm. And he has this quote that says, money is the... Here, I wrote it down. Money is information socially guaranteed to be valuable. Money is information socially guaranteed to be valuable. So it's basically like the only reason why we can use the dollar is because it's socially guaranteed to be valuable. We all agree.
There is a social agreement.
There is a social agreement that it will be valuable. And money needs to be, number one, like a store of value, and number two, like easily usable. Like that's like the two main things about money that need to be like accessed.
Yeah, having liquid is partially important. Having some
because like
some liquid, like you can, like there's people right now that I'm sure have like 30 investment homes and 30 investment properties that like are worth millions and millions of dollars. But if you were to be like, hey man, like do you have a couple $1,000 to like go buy a boat? They'd be like, nah, I'm broke. Because it's not liquid. It's like wrapped up in investments or whatever. That's
like, for example, like gold. It's like a good store of value, but it's not practical because like, what am I going to do? Carry around a little like hammer and like hammer off a little piece of gold and weigh it every time I need to pay you.
You basically buy like coins and bars and keep them in a bank anyway. It's like, gold is the most secure because it's a precious metal, but.
Yeah, but the interesting thing about the whole like concept is like money has become social media in the sense of like even the way that we use money and things has become its own weird little like social network. Like it's very odd, and like there's this whole idea that the government, like when the U.S. government gave everyone $1,200, not everyone, but they were supposed to give everyone $1,200 that was making less than $100,000 a year, all that stuff. Like the people that probably needed that money the most are the people that probably didn't file taxes last year or don't even have a bank account, you know?
Yeah.
And that's what's so interesting is like we need to come up with a better system. Like I was listening to this podcast with Andrew Yang, and he was talking about how
The H3
yeah, and he was talking about how he would like to create like even like a Venmo or a Cash App type thing. He said like honestly the government should have done the $1,200 through like Cash App or something, because like that would have been more accessible. I mean, we paid $1,200 to like hundreds of thousands of people that were dead and stuff.
Do you know why they sent out paper checks to everyone?
I didn't get a paper check. Mine came direct deposit.
So even if you got direct deposit, you got a paper one in the mail.
No, I didn't.
Okay, so I did. I got direct deposit, but then I also got a piece of paper in the mail letting me know that they put a direct deposit in my mail.
Well, maybe I did get that,
But
I didn't get a check though.
Well, on the check and on those papers, DJT wanted his signature. So he actually delayed payments so that he could have his signature on things.
Yeah,
Like literally,
we knew that, but I mean, like
ugh, ridiculous.
yeah, he's a narcissistic asshole. But I mean, we knew that. I mean,
I'm not surprised. I'm just simply saying that's a random asterisk. That doesn't actually mean anything, honestly.
yeah, but basically, the idea that like money is changing so much, and like everyone is just using these like antiquated systems. I mean, the fact that everyone that's in politics, not everyone, but the vast majority of politicians are quite old. It makes sense that we're still using all these antiquated systems because that's what they're used to using.
What's also crazy is like the top 10 people, the top 10 of the 1% of people in the U.S. since the pandemic have made like $368 billion. They've increased their net worth by that much. The 10%, not the 1%, the 10% own more than 40% of the entire stock market. So if you like the economy is like the economy and the stock market are not the same thing. The stock market is a projection of what the economy will be in the future.
Mm-hmm.
So the reason why the stock market's at a real big high right now is because everyone's like, well, yeah, this corona thing will be cleaned up in a year or two. So I might as well just like throw all my money in one place and then sit on it for a couple of years. I mean, there was a bunch of millionaires made in 2008 when a bunch of people were like, oh shit, everything's 50% off. Cool. And just bought a bunch of stuff. But anyway, so like the it's like socialism for the rich, but like brutal capitalism for the poor. You know, like the second that like a company needs like bailing out or needs like a tax break, like there was like four times the amount of dollars made in tax breaks for the wealthy than there was money that was sent out.
It's not necessarily for the wealthy, it's for businesses.
Well, wealthy people own businesses. Like
exactly, but that's the thing. It's not to individuals. It's to these like the government views these businesses as like cornerstone like things in our economy, and if those things go down, then that would be more detrimental than them giving them the money. So that's why they do it. I mean, I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying that it's not. It's a weird thing. I'm not necessarily in defense of any of it, but it's the problem with late stage capitalism, right? It's not necessarily capitalism.
This is what happened in France when they started beheading people in the 1820s or the 1920s, when they just started literally chopping off the heads of rich people.
Yeah, exactly. And it's this weird thing with late stage capitalism, and I think the answer to it is, I don't know. Like it's weird because like fundamentally I like don't really like the idea of socialism, because that just means more government control and more government oversight and things.
Same.
And I don't trust the government to handle anything elegantly or do it efficiently.
Same.
And
or effectively.
Not waste our money. And so
I'm all about a small government.
Exactly. And like that's the funny thing about like conservatives in America. Like conservative is supposed to mean like fiscally conservative, but obviously all that's thrown out the window these days. Like no one's being fiscally conservative on either side of the aisle. So it's just like really weird how everyone's got this strange divide, and there's no real like middle person that's like, yo, on one side we've got this, and on one side we've got this. We need to take care of the little guys, and we need to end homelessness, and we need to figure out a way to provide support for people that are struggling right now. But at the same time, we don't need to be saying we like fuck the rich and kill all billionaires. Like, obviously there's a reason.
I don't believe that at
I
all.
know, and I think that those are like sometimes the same people.
Those 10 people probably own like hundreds and hundreds of companies that are incredibly important to
100%
to everything that we do. And I'm not saying like off with their heads. Like I'm not saying that at all, but I am saying that there is an issue with the fact that like 90% of people have to split 60% of the wealth in the US, and 10 people have,
what's the answer?
Multiple trillions of dollars. Dude, I don't know. I don't have answers. I'm just saying, like, it's an issue. It's kind of like I strive to be as big and as dope and as awesome as those people up there. Like I go for that, and I think capitalism also allows for innovation. I mean, granted, things are very expensive, but we've got innovation. That's a lot of the argument that people have about like the healthcare system here in America. They're like, oh, it's so expensive. And it's like, yeah, but we're incredibly innovative and have like a lot of the best technologies because we spend so much money in order to create all these things. It's like you could go to a different country and get 50-year-old technology and 50-year-old medicine that hasn't been changed or developed, and it'll probably work.
I don't know if that's a real argument, because there's a lot of medical tourism for those reasons. Like, people go to the Middle East, go to Dubai, go to South Korea because the shit is state of the art and it's super cheap. Because
I haven't deeply researched this enough
to
argue this topic, but I just
we have the best. The reason why it's expensive is because we have the best doctors, we have the best technology. We always win. Everyone else is going to be losing so much, they're going to be tired of losing.
Tired of winning.
The best medicine. We're going to be tired of winning. We have so much good medicine here.
Is my name Schmitchard Schmump right now?
No, you're I don't know. Can't think of anything good. You're not orange enough.
Yeah, not orange enough.
Did you see that picture of him where he has the orange under his collar?
No, I'm not surprised.
It was after that rally where like they expected there to be like 1 million people, and it was
all the TikTok
super
kids that protested.
It was after that rally, and he looks all sad, and his collar has like orange, self tanner like all inside the collar of it. And it's like, yeah, dude, no one's that orange in real life. It surprises me that no one's come out and like explained his whole like makeup routine and hair routine. He probably has that all under wraps. He
definitely has a hair and makeup routine.
Oh, 100%.
He literally was complaining about like shower water pressure the other day.
Jeez.
I can't, when you turn on the water and it's not very good pressure and you can't scrub your hair very well.
PewDiePie brought up a thing the other day. He's like, no matter how much money you have, it's an annoying thing is when you turn on the hot water and it's not always immediately hot. Like you got to wait for it to get hot. He's like, what the heck? Like I have the best, I can afford like the best of everything. And like, that's one thing that like still annoys the shit out of me. Hope you enjoyed that clip. If you want to watch the full episode, you can click right here. If you want to subscribe to the channel, you can click right here. If you want to watch more clips, we got 2 more right over here.